Hello and welcome to Rathods Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 24th September 2024. So let's get started. Actually there are many articles which are relevant from our examination point of view from both prelims and as well as mains. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So see the first article, guys. Watching child sex abuse material is an offense, says Supreme Court. So from which subject we can say this article? Society. So here there are two important keywords. First one, it is about child sex abuse, and second one is about role of judiciary. So you'll be studying about judiciary and its role, everything in which subject? From GS paper to under polity. So here exactly in your judiciary, you have to see some concepts. First one is your courts. So in our country we have three-tier court system. Supreme Court is the topmost court of the country, and we have High Court, which is the topmost court of the state, and we have district courts, and these district courts are also called as subordinate courts. So this is the first thing that you have to see. And second one is, nowadays, you know that in GS paper 2 you got question regarding PIL, right? That is public interest litigation. So you have to know about PIL, because there is one article which is there in our news regarding this PIL, and we are going to see that. And you have to see some concepts called as judicial activism. Judicial activism. Next one is judicial overreach. Next one is judicial review. So from these three concepts, you can get a question. So actually now Supreme Court is taking this case because of judicial activism. So here judiciary is taking more number of case. So there may be a question the next year means regarding judicial activism, examples of judicial activism, what is the impact of the judicial activism on the society. Okay, you have to focus on that. And actually once this economy is done, you will be getting started with polity. So in that polity, I will be telling sir to deal with all the current affairs which are in news from your polity, so that you will be get habituated with the current affairs. Okay, so from child sex abuse, what you have to say is, what is the definition of this child sexual abuse? And now you have to see why Supreme Court took this case and what is the inference from this case, and you have to see what are the laws which are present in our country to control this child sex abuse. Tell me any law that you know. Yes, POCSO, Prevention of Child from Sexual Abuse Act. Okay, and next one here is, other than that POCSO, do you have any laws or regulations? Yes, we do, right? So you have to know this part. So from this part there is a chance of getting question. So after you analyzed this your mains paper, you can understand like UPSC is also focusing on, yes, aspirants need to have the knowledge regarding what is the rules and regulations we are having. So what are the legal framework of our India regarding so and so crime. So you have to focus on this part. Okay, so here this thing that you can see from your GS paper 2 under society, and you know that there is increasing of child sexual abuse. So even you can get a question regarding what are the causes for this child sexual abuse in India, and you have to see what are the measures that you can take. And this topic you can even connect from your GS paper 4 ethics. What are the attitudes regarding this child sex abusers? Okay, so this is a very holistic topic that you have to know. So now let us see into this case what this is talking about. The Supreme Court of India ruled that storing, watching and distributing of child sexual exploitative and abuse material is a criminal offence from now. From now onwards, the rules and regulations are very strict that viewing, storing and distributing of child sexual exploitative and abuse material is a criminal offence. Okay, under which act? As you said, that is POCSO, and next one is under IT Act. Why IT Act? Information Technology Act, because this information will be circulating by using this technology, right? So under these two acts, now it is a criminal offense, and most probably you may get a question either in prelims or mains regarding this. It is a very important and burning topic. So if you see some details, we can understand that there is expansion of criminal liability now, right? So here there is active participation of judiciary is happening, and it's taking suo cases to ensure safety and security in our country, right? So actually here this article is saying that, so even whenever you are doing passive actions, like even if you are not involving in that act, even viewing, even sharing of that information, or even if you are storing that information in your devices, that is a criminal liability now. So what we can understand now, here Supreme Court made this offense as a serious nature of crime, and even it is also ensuring accountability at all levels, like this whoever involved in this process, everyone is now accountable. So what is the thing, or what will be the positive outcome of this measure? Can we decrease this kind of crimes in the future? Yes, right? So can we say this is as a preventive step, right? Okay, so here we can understand that there is transformation in terminology. So now here, instead of child sexual abuse, now the word which is used here is child sexual exploitator and abuse material. So the change of the name itself has happened in this case. So that means we are also focusing on exploitation rather than adult sex behavior. So that is the thing that we are focusing on, and especially we are also focusing on legal frameworks surrounding this child abuse, and as well as they are focusing on psychological consideration. So why Supreme Court is taking this issue as a very serious? Because today's children are tomorrow's citizen. So if they are having psychological impact now, what happens? Can we ensure human capital in our country? No. And already we know that there is already very low women participation in the workforce according to periodic labor force survey. So here government is trying to enhance women's participation. So when we can ensure women's participation? Whenever there is women empowerment. So this is one of the proactive steps. So that here we can consider even trauma which is experienced by the victims. And next one here is we are also focusing on what will be the full implications of crime against children. Okay, so here because of that we can also make a strict provisions regarding the legal system that is present in our country. And even we are focusing on constructive possession. So actually we are not merely talking about this child sexual content, but even we are talking about the material, if it is circulating, that is also exploitative. Okay, so these are the things that you have to see. And actually I want to see show why Supreme Court is very serious, why it is serious regarding this issue. Because if you see the Indian scenario, there is increasing of child pornography. It is happening, especially in the online platforms. And if you see the data regarding NCRB, so that is National Crimes Record Bureau 2021 is saying that, so cases are increasing rapidly from 2020 to 2021. So because of this, Supreme Court is very serious. And what will be the impact of this child pornography or circulating of this material? So what happens? There will be psychological impact on children. Children can go into anxiety, depression, anger, etc. So that will lead to mental distress, and even it will be affecting the cognitive abilities of children. So they will be not growing further, and even they do not have proper social relationship as well. And next one here is there will be impact on the sexuality. So as you all know that why there is increasing of this kind of rapes against women, because whenever people they are having this type of content easily accessible, so here always children they will be imitating the parents or imitating the things they are watching. So they will be doing the same thing. And next one is there will be also addiction, especially by men, and even there will be the behavioral impact. So especially whenever there is any stereotype which is happening, then actually male, that is nothing but men will be looking women as a sex object. So this is also one of the impact that we are going to have. So because of this, we want to remove all these things so that we can ensure gender equality, we can ensure empowerment of women, we can ensure women participation. Okay, so for all these things, so this is one of the important and proactive step which is taken by Supreme Court. And if you see what are the initiatives which are present in our country, so as I said, that is POCSO Act. And even recently 2019 this POCSO Act had been amended. So in this we included even very stringent measures like death penalty for aggravated sexual assault on children. And what are the other initiatives? As I said, we have IT Act, and next one is we have Child Abuse Prevention and Investigation Unit, and we have Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and we have Juvenile Justice Act, and we have Child Marriage Prohibition Act, and we have Child Labor Prohibition Regulation Act, and we have POCSO courts for special, and even we have special fast track courts. So these all are the laws in our country which are protecting children of our country. So you have to know this, because if you have attended my class of analysis of GS paper 2, there I gave special reference to articles, case studies, and as well as laws, and even the importance of schemes. Many of you might be knowing that. Okay. So see this article, secularism, European concept introduced during emergency. So what is the meaning of secularism? So is there any question appeared in 2024 mains regarding secularism? Yeah, what is that question is about? So discuss the difference between secularism of US and India, right? Okay. So what is the meaning of or concept of the secularism? So what is the keyword? Keyword is secularism. So where you can study about this secularism? Only in polity, in GS paper 2 polity, and even from GS paper 2 under international relations. So whether we had this concept of secularism in our constitution? Yes, but when it is added? So through which amendment act? 42nd or 44? 42nd Constitution Amendment Act. Okay, where you can see this word secular. Even in our preamble, we can see this concept of secularism. Okay, so what are the dimensions you have to see? So first one is you have to understand what is the concept of secularism, and you have to see in our constitution, so which are the constitutional provisions talks about secularism. So are there any articles talks about secularism? Right to equality, next. Religious freedom, next. Minority, next. Even fundamental duties talks about this, right? So there are some constitutional provisions and you have to know that. And you have to know about when it had been introduced, and even in your history, you have to see our debates in our Constituent Assembly. So here in our Constituent Assembly, whenever we are drafting our constitution, there were lots of debates which are made regarding whether we have to incorporate this concept of secularism, because as you all know that our Indian constitution is a copycat constitution. We took many important and relevant things from different constitutions of the countries and we incorporated into ours. So actually this secularism is a concept of other country. So while we are referring the constitution of other country, many of our members of Constitutional Assembly, they said that yes, this is the concept that we can incorporate. But there were several debates which happened. So what are those debates? And in those debates, what are the things they said? And you have to see, in our original constitution, they are not part. Why? And you have to see, so in emergency period, actually emergency was during whose period? Who was the Prime Minister? Indira Gandhi, right? So during that period, why Indira Gandhi government incorporated this secular word into our constitution? And even you have to see about our preamble. And 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, which added not only secular word but even other words. You have to see that. So this was the question in your 2022 in your prelims, like which are the words which are added in this 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So in this way also you can get your questions in your prelims. You have to see in a multi-dimensional manner. So you have to see your polity, IR, history, and even the relevant thing, that is post-independent India part as well. Clear? So now let us see this article. So Tamil Nadu governor, he argues that secularism is a European concept. It is not included in our original Indian constitution. So here, why in our original Indian constitution it was not added? Because our constitution, our Indian society is based on Sanatana Dharma. Okay, Dharma is a centric part of our nation. So because of that, here we didn't incorporate this concept of secularism in our original constitution. And he also says that secularism was introduced during emergency to appease certain groups by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act under this Indira Gandhi government. Clear? So this is the context why it is in news. Here Tamil Nadu governor is claiming. So actually this was issue from like 1 to 2 years onwards. The issue it is going on. So because of this you got question in your mains. Okay. So if you see this article which says that what is the historical context of secularism? Secularism is emerged in Europe in post-conflict between church and state. Actually, European countries, what is a religion? And in fact, in the world, so which is the largest religion? Obviously, that is Christianity, right? So in Christianity, we have church and we have fathers, or called as popes. And this one is we have on another side state or government. So actually, there is a strict division of, there will be no link between this state and as well as religion in this European countries. But in India, yes, we are having a proper relationship between government and society. So can we include the secularism concept when we got independence? No, right? So at that time, we didn't incorporate this secularism. And if you see in our constitutional discussions also, some said that we have to adopt the secularism, some said that no. Why some said no? Because yes, Indian identity is based on Sanatana Dharma or Dharma. So we will be not focusing on any secularism. So there was a strong sentiment against adoption of secularism in our Constituent Assembly debate. So we didn't incorporate that. And next one here is emergency politics. So actually in emergency from 1975 to 1977, secularism concept had been introduced into our constitution through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, because that decision which motivated rather than genuine societal needs. Actually, they want to politically motivate the people at that time. So this was the one great mistake done by Indira Gandhi, that is emergency imposition. And in this time, so whatever the changes they can make, they made a lot of changes. Okay, so here at that time they want only to politically motivate the people rather than genuinely whether it is required or not. So because of this, it also complicated our Indian politics as well. And next one here is our Tamil Nadu governor. He's saying that yes, interpretation of secularism has misleaded populace, that is population at that time, suggesting that yes, it disconnected political narratives and as well as public understanding. Just for their political sake, they introduced this. Okay, so actually he's saying that Bharat's or India's identity is based on Dharma, and it is one of the important challenge for the Western notions of governance. So finally, we came up with this secularism, but this Sanatana Dharma, that is one of the centric of our India's culture identity. So it is prioritizing mainly spiritual and as well as cultural values of our country. Okay, so that is the thing you have to see, and especially now you have to focus on some facts regarding the secularism. Secularism, it is an ideology. It emphasizes separation of religion and the state. And we need neutral government. Government should not support any religion. Religion should be a separate entity and government should be a separate entity according to this ideology. So actually it is having two main meanings. You have to know this concept. So focus here. So separation of the religion from the state, it is called as Dharma Nirpekshata. So you have to use this word. So Dharma Nirpekshata is nothing but the separation of religion from the state. It is the first important meaning. And next one is equal respect to all religion by state. It is called as Sarva Dharma Sambhava. So actually, so this concept of Dharma Nirpekshata is seen in US. And this concept of Sarva Dharma Sambhava is part of our India. So we adopted this part, not this part. Okay, have you understand clearly? So in yesterday's discussion, try to add this point of Dharma Nirpekshata and as well as Sarva Dharma Sambhava. So US is based on this and India is based on this. Okay, so Indian constitution which aims for secular state where all religions are treated equally. So what is the criticism of Indian model of secularism? And you may get question on this part, criticism part. So anti-religious, it has been argued that the secularism can threaten the religious identity of our country. And if you see, it is the concept of Western countries. So Western countries, they have Christianity. So it is not suited for our Indian conditions, because in India we have unity in diversity. So majorly we will be having Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis. So different religious people are living together. But if you see concentration of religions in other country, there will be maximum only majorly 99% only one religion, that is Christianity. So that is not suitable for our India. So this is also one criticism. And next one is, it is argued that Indian secularism advocates minority rights, because we are having right to protect the culture, minority rights, etc. And this one is, even now we are using this as vote bank politics. That means in our elections we are having campaigns based on this religion, caste, etc. Clear? So if you read in this way, you can easily write whatever the question that you are getting in your exam. So see this question, Odisha all set to join Ayushman Bharat health coverage scheme. So what is the scheme is about? Ayushman Bharat. So actually related to this scheme, are there any questions in your GS paper 2 or 3? Yes, right. So what are the questions? Yes, expenditure regarding health, regarding marginalized sections of people. Okay, they asked many questions regarding this Ayushman Bharat scheme indirectly. So every year you will be getting questions regarding schemes and their evaluation. So actually this year you got question regarding Udan scheme directly in your GS paper 2, paper 3, and actually every year you will be having questions from governance part. So how you will be getting questions from scheme is, they will be asking what are the aims and objectives of that scheme, whether those aims and objectives are achieved or not, how far we achieved, whether it is a success or not. So analysis based questions that you will be getting. Okay, you have to prepare from that angle. So what is the keyword? Ayushman Bharat. So from which subject you can say this? From GS paper 2 under governance, and even from GS paper 2 under society and social issues part, and even from GS paper 3 you can see from economy. And even you know that recently the corruption had been busted in this Ayushman Bharat scheme, and you can see about role of CAG. So when we discussed about CAG, I said about, yes, we found that there is misappropriation of funds which happened in this Ayushman Bharat, which had been said by this CAG. There we said about auditing of CAG and as well as proprietary. Yes or no? We discussed that question, like, right, legality and proprietary of CAG. So there we discussed about this example. Yes or no? So from all these subjects you can see this. So what are the dimensions you have to see? What is the scheme is about? What are the aims and objectives of the scheme? And you have to see what are the important components of the scheme, under which ministry it is coming under, and you have to see funding mechanism. And even we discussed about the scheme in increasing of center or recent changes of center-state relations, that there is increasing centrally sponsored scheme. So this Ayushman Bharat is also one of the centrally sponsored scheme, right? So you have to see funding. So it is 60:40 in normally. So in Himalayan states, what is the percent? In UTs, what is the percent? You have to see. And you have to see what are the challenges. And next one is, what are the measures can we take? So all these are the important dimensions that you have to cover from this article. Okay, so not only for this scheme, but every scheme, whichever it is in use. So see on in these dimensions. Okay, let us see the context. Odisha is now preparing to join this Ayushman Bharat scheme. Okay, actually under this scheme, what is the feature? It will be giving 5 lakh healthcare coverage per family per year. So can you tell me the recent update in this scheme? Yes, 70 years plus are getting insurance under this scheme. Okay, so this is the thing which mainly said. So they are going to join this Ayushman Bharat scheme now. So actually, whenever it is a centrally sponsored scheme, so each and every state they have to for sure implement that. So but why this Odisha is delaying this implementation of this scheme? What might be the reason? Huh? Okay, government. Next. Why? So actually it is not having proper technology and infrastructure to implement this. So because of some technical issues, they didn't implemented this, but they are saying that yes, we are having some advancements in our technical glitches and we are going to implement this soon. And if you see what are the details that you have to see, so we can understand that even whenever this Odisha is included in this Ayushman Bharat, we can say that yes, we are moving towards universal health coverage in India. So whenever we are enhancing or whenever we are ensuring that the scheme is present and implemented in each and every state, we can obviously ensure the quality of health care. And we can, what happens whenever there is increasing of health access to the people? What will be the outcomes? Huh? Yes, standard of living will be increased and the productivity of people will be increased. We can enhance. Uh, yes, we can assure demographic dividend. Next. Uh, human capital, economic growth. Okay, so all will be the things. And this one is, yes, this scheme's financial model is nothing but it is centrally sponsored scheme. So center and as well as state need to share the things. So the cost are shared between center and states. That means it is highlighting about, yes, we can alleviate health expenses. That means, so if you are launching that program in the state level, obviously 60% of funds will be given by center itself. So here the effectiveness of health quality and healthcare is improved in the state, but even they will be getting some support from the central government. So we can alleviate means decrease healthcare expenses for the state. And next important point here is integration with existing scheme. For example, what if that state is having some schemes regarding the health? For example, do you know about this Arogya Sri? So Arogya Sri is also in the similar lines. So the people who are having this ration card, so they will be getting support from the government if they want to get some healthcare benefits. So already, for example, in some states, if they are having this kind of schemes, but if center is also imposing this kind of schemes, what is the impact on that state? Yes, double expenditure and even it will cause financial crisis of that state, and there will be increasing of exchequer also, and there will be even increasing of burden on the states. Okay, burden on hospitals, burden on the staff, everything. Okay, so you have to, whenever you are writing challenges, can you write this kind of challenges if you are writing about centrally sponsored scheme? So in the same way, we have PM Kisan scheme at the central level. But in the states, we have Raitu Bandhu, Raitu Bharosa, Khalia scheme of Odisha. So again, that will be increasing burden. But it was center sector scheme. Okay, center sector means 100% funds that will be coming up from the central government. That will be not much problem for the state. But if there is centrally sponsored scheme and state centric scheme, then there will be the clash. You have to think about this also, because you are the people who will be implementing these schemes in the future. Okay, and next one is you have to understand about widespread hospital network. So nearly they are increasing the number of hospitals so that will be ensuring the beneficiaries have access to the wide range of health facilities, so that they will be promoting timely and effective treatment. And next one is they are also focusing on inclusivity. So wherever you are writing, you can write about inclusive development, inclusive governance, inclusive coverage. So include this word, inclusive. So this kind of keywords that you have to write to attract the examiner. Okay. So inclusive means we will be including everyone. There should be no disparities. And this one is, we are also focusing on comprehensive medical procedures. So if you are having specialties like ENT specialist or oncologist or pulmonologist, cardiologist, then what happen? It will be also ensure much more increasing of effectiveness of healthcare outcomes by these schemes. So we can also provide diverse healthcare services so that we can increase the outcome from this so and so separate departments. Like if that department is dealing with heart, it is called as cardiology. If the department is dealing with stomach and intestine, it is called as gastroenterology. So like that, in the different fields, we can increase our healthcare outcomes. So see some facts regarding this scheme. Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, it is a flagship scheme. It is focusing on especially improving of health, and when we came up in 2018, and what is the important aim? Important aim is universal health coverage to the poor and vulnerable sections of society, and we are focusing on quality health care. Okay, so all those things that you can write and you can see. So see the objectives. The first one is to reduce financial burden and to reduce out-of-pocket expenditure and to improve access and affordability and to enhance quality and efficiency, and we are focusing on even preventive healthcare. So where we discussed about this preventive healthcare in GS paper 2. So when we are talking about privatization or marketization of healthcare system, so they will be focusing on only treatment. So if you are getting disease, then only they will be getting market. So while they will give you the vaccines, they won't, right? So if you're getting vaccines, will you get disease? No. Even if you are getting, the severity will be very less. There is no lot of admissions, critical care, everything. So if you are focusing on this government related healthcare, always you need to write about preventive care. That will be not in the case of private hospitals or private healthcare system. So take care of this small things, but they will having the edge. Okay, so see here, man dies of amoeba infection in Kerala. So what is this amoeba infection is about? Brain eating amoeba. So can you tell me the name? Meningoencephalitis. Okay, so just see what are the reasons of this amoeba. So how it is entering. So even there was one case I said, like, so even whenever one child who is not having any history of swimming in any pond, but he went to learn swimming in the overhead tank. So in that he got this infection. That means we need proper sanitation. So whenever you are writing about an answer regarding sanitation, can you add this point of brain eating amoeba, which is causing lots of deaths in children in Kerala, and even how this Kerala effectively managed this. I said one more case study, chlorination of this water bodies that led to killing of this amoeba, and they control the spread of this disease. Okay, so in this way you can get case studies in your ethics. And next one, Kerala reported case of clade 1b mpox strain. So why we discuss this topic in recently, like genome sequencing? Yes or no? So we studied that Kerala identified one mpox case and they are going for genome sequencing. So in this genome sequencing, finally they found that it is clade 1b. So which are the two types of mpox, clade 1b and clade 2b? So clade 2b is spreading in Africa, and now in India we found this clade 1b. So we need different vaccine now in India. Clear? Okay, see this article. Very nice image. What is that is about? Not Kathakali. It is about culture. I know culture, but what exactly? It is about Kudiyattam. Kudiyattam. Okay, it is not about Mohiniyattam. Mohiniyattam, they will be having just white sarees. Okay, so here, if you see the title, it says that a collective for young artists to learn nuances of different Kudiyattam styles. Do you know about these theatres? Classical theatres. So in this theatre, it is one of the examples from Kerala. Okay, so from COVID-19 time onwards, the relevance of this Kudiyattam had been increased. So there may be a question on this topic from your art and culture. Okay, so in your art and culture, you have a topic called as theatres. So in this, you have to see name of the theatre and in which state it is present and what are the features of that theatre. So you have to make notes like this, then your work is done. That's it. Nothing more than this. So here, Choliyattam is an informal platform for the younger generations of this Kudiyattam artists in Kerala. So actually they are using this Choliyattam as one of the informal platform from COVID-19 pandemic onwards, so that by using this informal thing, now we are preserving our culture. Okay. So here you can get a question, because art and culture is part of your mains also. So how can we preserve our culture? How can we preserve our history of visual arts? So in this way, if you are getting any question, you can use this article as a case study that yes, Kudiyattam in Kerala, especially Kudiyattam artists in Kerala, they are using this Chuliyattam as one of the informal platform they are keeping alive. Okay. So if you see some facts here, it is one of the oldest traditional theatre forms of Kerala and it is based on Sanskrit theatre traditions. And Kuti means nothing but in Malayalam language combined or together. Attam means nothing but acting. That means they are acting together. The characteristics of this theatre are Chakayar, and next one is Nambiyar, and next one is they will be also using some instrumentalists, the people who will use instruments like Nayangar, okay, and actually there is very high importance of given for the women roles in this theatre, and especially they'll focus on eye expressions. So especially if you see Kathak like they will be entirely depend upon the face expression as well as eyebrows. Okay, that is called as Netra Abhinaya. That is called as eye expressions and even Hasta Abhinaya. Hasta Abhinaya is nothing but the gestures that you are making by using of hands. Okay, and even why it is important because it had been recognized as UNESCO's masterpiece of oral and intangible heritage of humanity in 2001. So even if you are preparing for SSCGL, there is a chance of getting this question. Okay? And see the article, reform of global institutions must for development. So recently we studied about the future United Nations Summit for Future, right? Yes or no? So what is the United Nations Summit of the Future? Like what our Environment Ministry Secretary said yesterday itself, I think so. So they said about, what they said? Yesterday only. It is a 2-day summit. So our Environment Ministry Secretary attended this United Nations Summit for Future and she gave some statements. And I said you can use that statements directly while you are writing your mains, what she said. Rather than focusing on emissions, we have to focus on what? Sustainable livability of the people. We have to take at least small steps, like rather than using of plastic, you can use some cotton bags or jute bags. Did I say that example? Yes or no? That is our memory. You're absent. What about you guys? Others? Did I say or not? No idea. Okay, so revise that. That is very important because those are the statements directly given by our Secretary of Environment. Okay, so see this context. So Prime Minister emphasized that the necessity of reforming global institutions for achieving peace and development is very important. So our Environment Secretary, she said about, especially about we need to focus on sustainability living. So each and every person, community participation, everything is important. But our Prime Minister, he focused on peace and development because he is doing some visits to Ukraine. He is also involving in Quad and meetings, etc. So as you all know that across world some geopolitics is happening, like Ukraine issue or Israel Gaza issue, etc. Right? So because of this, yes, our Prime Minister, he focused especially on establishment of peace. So can you tell me any international organization deals with this peace and stability across the world? United Nations Security Council, yes. So that is the thing he focused especially here in this meet. So here he highlighted that India's readiness to share its digital public infrastructure globally, because information sharing is very important to control any problem now in this century. And this one is, he also said that yes, in United Nations Security Council, we need to get some reforms. So whether India is a permanent member of United Nations Security Council? No. So India is asking for permanent member for this United Nations Security Council. And if there is increasing of membership, then what happens? Every country's contributions can be increased so that we can effectively take some steps to establish peace across the world. So this is the thing which is focused by our Prime Minister. Clear? So actually our Prime Minister argued that without reforms in any global institutions, we cannot address this modern conflicts. For example, you can take WTO. You can take about WHO, you can take about United Nations Security Council. There is decreased relevance of these global organizations. So if we want to increase that credibility of that organizations, we have to make some reforms. So this is the thing which mainly said. Indirectly here our Prime Minister is saying that India needs to get permanent membership in this United Nations Security Council. And next one here is we're also focusing on collective strength. We need for unity to resolve these global issues, especially if you want to get the solutions. He already said that warfare is not a solution. We have to go for diplomacy. Do you remember these words that we discussed in our earlier classes? For everything, the solution is not a warfare. There I raised a question, then what about India-China issue? We are going for more than 30 rounds of talks. Till now, there is no resolution. And even on that, you got question like, what are the border issues between India and China and India and Pakistan in our GS paper 3? So now what we are studying in our current affairs, can you use here and there at least? Yes or no? Okay. Next one here is even, do you know about this increasing of membership of G20, where we want to include this even African Union. So it is also one example which quoted by our Prime Minister that yes, we are focusing on global governance. We are focusing on inclusive global governance. So we are going to include this African Union in G20. So why India is saying that? So when this decision had been taken, when India is presidency of this G20, that means we are showcasing our what? Our our power to the other countries at this global conferences. And next one is United Nations Action Plan, which is also focusing about proactive approach to contemporary changes. Like what are the issues we are having? We are having issues of AI, having issues of machine learning, cyber security, piracy. Okay, so these should be like addressed. When we can address, when we are having a global policy making. So that is the thing. And even he also focused on cyber security issues as well. We have to make security because data is like a fuel in this 21st century. So it is responsibility of our country to take care of protection of data. And even regarding this Digital Data Protection Act of 2023, there was question in your GS paper 3. Yes, is it relevant? And next one here is, if you see the digital infrastructure, India is also going to share its digital public infrastructure if it is required for development, cooperation, and actually India wants to be leader in this global digital governance. So these are the things which are highlighted. And see this article, center state to set review scope of AFSPA. So just go about this AFSPA in Manipur. So what is this? Armored Forces Special Parts Act. What is it? And in which state it is implemented? And what is the thing? What are the special powers which is given to this paramilitary forces under this AFSPA? And next you can see, I told no. So once winter going to get started, you will be getting articles regarding stubble burning. They had been started, and you will be getting bored, and I will be getting bored to deal with this in future. Till February, you will be having this kind of articles. So Punjab, Haryana, they are going to eliminate the stubble burning this winter. So I don't know whether it will be happen or not. I don't want to take any stand here. So just think about the stubble burning. Do you know about what is the meaning of stubble? So after once harvest is done, so what are the waste is there that is called as stubble or paroli. So they will be going for simply burning of that rather than using that. Because why? So the next period will be very, very soon. So there is a very short time period. So within the short period, if they want to go for segregating of this everything, it will be wasting of time. So just they will burn it so that they can clear this stubble. So because of this, it is causing air pollution in Delhi because of wind. Okay, see one more article here. Robotic mules to join army, drones, high altitude tents under evaluation. So is this an useful step or not? Yes or no? Why? Why can we use this science and technology in this border security? What are the advantages? Okay, less threatening. Okay, less life threatening. Okay, we can save the lives. Next. So in that very high altitude regions, so sometimes there will be issues for the humans. Next. So do you know about this strategic condition of army people? So do you know about this Ladakh? Especially very, very cool. So in that cool temperature, can anyone survive? But these army people, they have to go. So at that time, if they are getting any blockage in their lungs, so just at that time, so they have to get helicopter and they have to take these people for the treatment. So at that time, what they will do is just they will be taking that person who is having that disease within 24 hours. If they are not getting treatment, they will be dying. That critical it will be. So at that time, just they will be keeping that so and so patient in a vacuum bag, and they will be closing that. So in that vacuum, if within 24 hours if helicopter is coming, then he will be survived, or else he will be losing his life. So that much fight our army people they are doing. So in that places, if you want to save the human life, yes, this is one of the innovations that we can use to maintain our border security and even to save the lives and even to decrease the expenditure. But there are some concerns. What are they? Yes, privacy, and even they can be tracked. Next, hacking. Okay, so you have to know about what are the advantages and disadvantages of this move. But you have to know this because whenever you are writing about internal security issues, you can use this. Like we can use artificial intelligence, robotics, and technology to save our borders. For example, you can give this. Okay. So see this article, India's defense exports and humanitarian law. So I said there is one article in our newspaper regarding PIL, right? Yeah, PIL you already got question in your GS paper too. So here, what is this PIL is about? What is PIL? Public interest litigation. So actually there is one PIL which is filed that, so India is exporting arms to Israel. So because of this, even in today's paper, one blast happened and many people they had been killed. So it is causing humanitarian crisis. So when PIL filed that India needs to stop the defense exports to Israel. So what is the response of our Supreme Court? Can you guess? Stopping or not? Not stopping. Why? Because on which basis judicial is working? So if judgment should be given, we need any legal basis or any law, or that should be present in our constitution. Whether this thing regarding exports is there in our constitution? No. Is there any law? No. So because of this, what happened? Supreme Court denied this PIL. So now what is the need? We need to come up with a law regarding humanitarian basis. So that is the thing which is given here. So let us complete this fast. Supreme Court of India dismissed a PIL to halt. Halt means to stop defense exports to Israel amidst allegations of war crimes in Gaza, citing foreign policy limits. And it is raising our border concerns about India's defense exports and even whether we are following this international humanitarian law or not. So the problem in India here is we don't have any legal frameworks which is assessing or which is according to international humanitarian law. So what is the need? We have to come up with any law which should be in compliance of international humanitarian law. Clear? Any doubt so far? So these are the important articles that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I'm concluding. Thank you so much guys for watching. And if you find at least 5 to 10% of my analysis is helpful in your preparation, then please do hit the like button and please do share this video to your friends and do subscribe to Rathods IAS Academy. And we are going to meet in the tomorrow's class.